All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Olushola. I'm making you a host now. Welcome to the first of your classes for the API module. We usually wait for some time for the number of students to hit 40 before starting, so that most people are on the call before you start. So you're welcome. You've been made a host. Over to you.
Thank you, Deme. Good evening, everybody. So I was also expecting that I would wait a bit for others to join in. Thank you for the warm welcome. Sure.
All right, Shola, you can start now. We are 41.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Olushola Ajibadi, and I'll be taking you on the basics of API testing. So you're still going to learn the automated part. But let's just have the basics so that you understand what we are talking about. That's number one. Then I would like us to keep the class also engaging as much as possible. So if you have any questions, you can drop it in the chat. I would look it up uh, and give an answer portray to the class. Yeah, so let me just share my screen. Let me share my slides. Sorry, please, I'm trying to bring up the slides. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
See your screen.
Okay, so let's get at it. So what is the introduction and objectives for this class? So at the end of this class, I would expect that, like I said earlier on, everybody is able to understand the basics of APIs and their role in software development. They are also able to learn a tool and use that tool and technique for effective API testing, right? So what are we going to be covering for this class? We are going to be covering introduction to API, of course, the basics, revolve around definition, purpose of APIs, key components, which are endpoints, methods, headers, payloads. All these things you might have heard them before or not. So we get to know what they mean and what they stand for. Then the fundamentals of API, why we have them, the importance, why should we do API testing, then the types, then the tools and techniques, like we have known, overview of the popular tools, and just basic methods of writing your test case in Postman generally. So I've talked about this. So then we'll also talk about the challenges and best practices. So that will be all will be covered for the class. That's for today and Thursday. We'll see how far we can go today. So is everybody with me? Can you all hear me clearly? So that I'm not talking to myself.
Yes, we can hear
Hear
you.
you clearly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. So first thing we need to know. So what is API? Do you have any idea, or before you come to class, have you done a little research, or have you heard somebody talk about API? What is API? Just in your own little understanding, what do you feel? So I can see David. I don't want to murder that name. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. So, so you can mute and you can have the floor.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is David. Well, I understand APIs to be application programming interface. It's just set of rules or protocols that allows two softwares to communicate with each other. Software being an application, probably fetching data, displaying the data from the API. Help to understand by an API.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I will not be able to take other people, but just be at alert for some other questions that you would answer. So, API basically is a set of rules or protocols that allow different software applications to communicate and interact with each other. So basically, if I want to come down to a way, because I want to explain API in such a way that you understand it, and anytime you have like a request or to do, you understand where we are coming from and what it stands for, right? API is just like a messenger, like a connector that allows different, like, it's like a connector that allows different software applications to communicate and interact. You know what that means? Like now, when you have someone you want to talk to, you can have like an intermediary to say, okay, please help me go and talk to this person. Okay, the person comes back with results. You people that used to go and meet the other gender, you know what I'm talking about, right? So so that's like basically. And if I would also go into further explanation, I would use a scenario. I know that, let's say 20% of this class have done fine dining before. You have gone to restaurants. If you have not, like, gone on a solo date, you would have taken somebody's there or something. So today is going to be useful to us because we are basically going. I'm going to use that as like a foundation for you to understand that. So in this scenario now, let's say that Adebola wants to go to a restaurant. She wants to go and have lunch, right? Or on a solo date or with somebody. And she gets there. That restaurant she's going to, the restaurant she's going to is the system. So she's going there because that's where it houses the person that is going to serve you, the waiter, your order, whatever you have seen in their menu, whatever, that is where that's where it has that system. The restaurants here in what we are talking about fine dining here is the system. I don't know if anybody is here. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, please you can let me know. So the system here, this restaurant here is where the services happen. It is where they provide all the services for you, right? So you get there. Then the next thing, when you get there, when you get to a restaurant, you don't just go into their kitchen or just go and pick up your food. Most times you have to like call the waiter, or the waiter comes to meet you to say, oh, how may I help you? What do you want to have for lunch or for dinner, as the case may be, right? Then it gives you one what do you call it, one paper like that to go through your order. You see that waiter that is coming to meet you at the time you sit down in that restaurant, that is your API. You remember that I said that API is just like a messenger, it's like a connector.
Sorry, Lushola, can you set your slide to presenter mode so that it's just the slides so that they can see clearer?
Okay.
Thanks.
I don't know.
Okay, so to your bottom left, next to the zoom in and out line, you see something that looks like a cup. It's a cup. That's presenter mode. It looks like, I don't know how to describe the icon. Can you see it? On the line where notes, comments are,
Okay.
the fourth icon after comments, bottom right, before the line to zoom in and zoom out.
After the charts, right?
No. On your screen, right on this presentation, after
Okay.
notes and comments, if you check the fourth icon.
This one.
No, next, the fourth one. Next, yes.
Okay, like okay. I can see it. Okay, something like okay. Thank you. Okay, is this better?
Yes, it's a lot better.
Yes, it's better. Trying to remove this so that. Okay. Sorry, I'm not used to Zoom. Okay. So is there a way I can remove this so that it does all you're all seeing from there? It's not an issue, right?
Remove what? Sorry, we can see it
I want to
perfectly.
remove this Okay, maybe it's for me. Okay,
It's
okay.
only you that's saying it. We can see the slide only.
Okay, so where did I stop? Okay, I was talking about the waiter, and I told you that the waiter is like the connector, like the messenger. Yeah, so when you get there, the waiter is the one who takes your order, who takes your request, just same way. So the waiter here that I'm talking about is the API, meaning that when you get to the API takes all your requests and take it to where it's going to get processed. Then we have your order itself. Now you want to uh when you want to maybe you want pizza without cheese. You know, that's like a specified request. Like maybe they have different, but you are telling them that, oh, I don't want cheese on my own pizza. I'm just using that for an example. That is like a unique, specific request that you're asking that waiter to go and process, right? So in that order that we are talking about now, that will make a pizza for me without cheese is your API request. I don't know. Please let me know if you are getting it, so that, because if you understand these basics, it's easier for you to, if we are talking about anything, to catch it up from there. Then we have the kitchen. You agree with me that when you get to the restaurant, you would not be able to, you don't know what's happening on the other side. You don't know how that pizza and that cheese and everything, that burger, everything that uh, you have requested, you don't know how they came in, right? Just so that at the end of the day, they'll tell you 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you have your order on your table, right? So the kitchen processing, where they process all those your chicken, your cheese, your pizza, that is the back end. You hear people talk about front end, back end. That's where all the back end logics happen, basically. Then we have uh, the API response. Now, when you go and they serve you, they bring it back to you. Says, okay, this is your pizza without cheese, or this is your pizza with chicken, or whatever you have ordered. So that your served dish is your API response. It is what that API returns. That's what your waiter. Remember that we said that your waiter in this regard is your API. So does that make any sense to you, like the process I've made? So because I can't see anything again since I'm using this presenter mode. So let me just know from behind so I can move on.
Yes. It makes sense.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So now what is the purpose of this? So the purpose of API testing is to facilitate integration between systems, to understand, oh, is this request getting to this place? What's it giving back? So if I send this person, is it returning my pizza with no cheese? Or is it giving me the pizza with cheese? Or is it even giving me bread instead of pizza? Do you get that kind of so it enhances the functionality by allowing access to services or data? Because this is also where, because these APIs are the main services that allows any request, any transaction like happens. So you need to be able to test them to see that they are working independently. So these are also, it also promotes usability and scalability in software uh, uh, development, meaning that you would be able to it's possible that you use a particular API also, like you use it for some other things. So if you have a login API in a particular application, it's something that you can also use in another application, because you have to see login, right? So you can use that endpoint. Of course, maybe the services will be different, but you can still use that same endpoint to achieve that same goal. I think I've done all this one. I've told you how does API work, and you agree that you understand to the well, this is the example I use. I use the example one. So let's keep it moving. So this one is talking about a movie site. You enter your movie name, credit information, and all that. So when you do that, it will also fetch you the order, because you are sending that request to say, okay, give me this. It will return it will return a response for your request, right? Remember that the waiter now, the API is the middleman going to, like, you are the one sending the API to say do this, and it goes to where the server is or the system to fetch that result and bring it back to you. So I've also talked about why. So importance of API testing, I think so. API testing is time effective when compared to GUI testing. What we do mean by GUI is graphic user interface, meaning that API now you don't have the serenade, define things that you see on maybe a Conga application now. You see the font size so beautiful, but from API side you don't have those kind of fine things. Like we said that the back end, it's just like your waiter, your API goes to the back end to fetch all those things. So it's not on the front side. Customers can see those things at the back. So it's time effective because also you'll be able to like take an endpoint at a time to test. So the automation also requires less code, so it can provide faster and better test coverage. Well, when something is time effective and you don't have to do much because you're not parabolating, looking at the findings and so, oh, this one, you know exactly what endpoints you want to test, and you could just go there, get what you send the request, gives you the response, check, and that's all. So it also helps us reduce the testing cost, of course. With API testing, we can find minor bugs before the GUI testing, meaning that even though we do API testing, we cannot emphasize also the GUI testing, because you know that these APIs are going to also be implemented with the front end. So you don't have to like say, oh, because I've tested this, you might not also get everything. But of course, those minor bugs that would literally slip your hands or you will not find in the front end. This is when you do the API test, you like 95% of the time to get those errors, get those bad responses, or no responses at all. You get all those things. It is also language independent. API testing is quite helpful in testing core functionality. I've explained that before because it's straightforward and it's just part because every endpoint have what they work for, has the functionality. So it's just straightforward. It's core functionality oriented. Let me just put it that way. We can test the APIs without a user phase. I've said it and I've explained what that means. We need to okay, yeah. So API testing in general helps us to reduce the risk that might cause vulnerability that might comes with any testing. So we also get to take that from there. So now we have types of testing, and we have the REST, we have the SOAP, then we have the GraphQL. So this for REST acronym, the full representation is representational state transfer. So, and here you have the architectural stack that uses standard HTTP methods. I'm still going to talk about what HTTP means, then the methods. We're still going to get to all that later in class. So the data is typically exchanged in JSON or XML formats. I want to say that the other time when we're talking about language dependency. So most times, most of your requests on REST would come in JSON or XML format. It's stateless and it is scalable. So the scalability is high. Then you have the SOAP, which for SOAP, the full representation means the simple object access protocol. This one is written in function structured information via web services. It also relies on XML for message format. It includes built-in error handling and supports security standards like WX security. We also have the GraphQL, which is the query language for APIs that allows clients to request specific data. Developed by Facebook, offering flexibility in data fetching. It also reduces overfetching and underfetching of data, meaning that you cannot go above or below whatever data you have. So now we have what are the key components of APIs. So I know that I've talked about HTTP. You heard me talk about endpoints. You heard me talk about method, HTTP method, and you're wondering what's this woman talking about? So endpoints are basically the URLs where the APIs are stored. You know, we said that the system, the APIs that connects the system or services to software systems to work, right? So where all these APIs are stored, so meaning that if we have like a login, let's say for a logistic application now, I have the login, the trucks or car type or something. Now those endpoints are stored somewhere. You can access them. There's a way you keep them. There's something that there's a URL you have to call to, so to access those endpoints, right? So that URL what we call endpoints. So we use this example here to say http s//api.example.com, right, /users. So this is an example of an endpoint. It includes the URL where the APIs is accessed. So this is the endpoint, but this is the URL where the API is accessed. So altogether we call this the endpoint. Sorry. Okay, then we have the method. So this method now tells us the action, the type of action we can perform. Like when QL says that you cannot do something over and above, even for rest, even for soap. So you have an action you have to take for each request. So like when we said that, oh, we went to the restaurants now, and we say, okay, give me this cheese and cheese and with burger, or we don't want all those things. Or I'm hearing myself. So when you say you want that kind of request, so it just means that you want to retrieve a data from there. So you're supposed to use a get because you are getting a data from there. Now, in the case of, let's say you want to go and watch a movie and you're trying to request online, and you have to create your account, you have to create your name to be able to like register or book a seat for that movie. You'd definitely be using a post because you are creating new resource. You are putting to say, oh, this is my name, this is my name. You are like giving out information. You are trying to create something new, to create an awareness, to say, this is me, this is my information, then do it with this, what you want to do. Do you get? So in the case of get, you want to reach, there's already enough information there. I just want you to pull it out for me to request it. Let's say, okay, I want to get the number of people that comes to the class today. Do you get? I want to get the number of people that comes to the class today. Get all list of people that comes to class. It will give me, because the list are already here. Everybody's registered, so we already have the list. If you want to like come into the class, you need to like fill some form, do anything in that way. And that's another example. You are trying to create a new resource. You're trying to create something to say, okay, this is my information. I need to be able to access this or something. So that's post. You can use post. Put, of course, is for like updating. You want to update like some of the information you already have in it before. Then you have delete. Of course, we know what delete means. You want to remove the resource or the item there. To this point, is everybody good? Do you understand to this point?
Yes. Good. Okay. I have a question, please.
Okay.
Okay. For the method, but okay, we have
Yeah.
get, post, put, delete. There's this one that they used to usually say, and I'm always saying it, patch.
Yeah, so patch also is like put, right? So the reason why I put this is because these are like the popular things that I basically use. So patch is also used for updating existing resources too. Just that patch would use a specific, it would be very, very specific to say, like, update this particular um request or resource, you understand? So, but put and patch, I'm just merely like the same. They do the same work.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry. So then we have, so another component that you'd hear or you'd see on your API is your header. So this contains metadata about the request or response, like the things you need, something example like authorization. So you agree with me that um, before you can maybe log into maybe a website or an application, you need authorization. You can't just log in. You might need your password. You might need an I2FA, like a extra two-factor authentication to log in. So from your header, you'll be able to see. You can also be able to see the content type, like specifies the format of the data. So what language do you want me to speak to you to get this and all that? You also get that from the header. Then your payload is basically, most times you would have your payloads when you have requests like posts, puts, and that patch that we talk about. In fact, some cases too for delete, because now, like I said, you are giving an information, you want to send me, you want to put in, so you are creating something new, so I need that information. The system does not have your information, does not know what you are doing, does not know what you are talking about. So the system needs those information to be able to carry out whatever request you want to send it. I don't know if that makes sense. So that is your payload. So when we talk about payload, that's basically what we mean by that. So then we have something we call collections. Well, okay, okay. So at this point, I would like us to look into what we'll be using to for this class. We'll be using Postman. We have so many other tools that we can use to test APIs generally, but Postman is like something that is widely known. People use it, and it's also very friendly, and also have the community, a lot of a whole bunch of community to support you if you have any requests, because people use it, so you likely to have, if you have issue or encounter anything issue on it, you'd easily have people who would want to like assist in do it. So I don't know if anyone has downloaded and installed the Postman. So, but we can use some few minutes to do that. So before we go, and the reason why I wanted to do that is that I want you to be able to relate to this. I've not gotten to the point to use it, but I just want us to relate to it. So you can just go to www.postman.com. So let's take it from there. Somebody can, I don't know, to not scatter out all our or let me just okay, let me just go on. Let me just go on with let me just go to with later so that I just buy time. Don't worry, we'll still do that. I'll just use this screen method to give you like an insight to it. So Postman is an application tool for testing APIs. So by sending requests to the web server and getting the response back, we already explained how all this works. So it allows users to set up all the headers and cookies. The API inspects and checks the response. A test in Postman is fundamentally a JavaScript code. So it will be ingesting which one after a request is sent and the response has been received from the server. So this is how to download it, but I don't know if we can quickly do that in, let's say, 5 minutes. And everybody just copy this and try to like download it. I was thinking, let's just download one. So that you have, okay, so. So just go to www.getpostman.com, then download from there. It's pretty much easy. Just follow the steps.
My name is Akim Adegoke.
Evening.
Why we download the Postman now? There's an application we do use in our organization that the interface issue is always a problem. So I don't believe it's the software tester that the quality assurance people that tested it that didn't test it very well. Now before it was deployed, they must have tested it. But the major issue we've been having in this application is the interfacing issue every time, especially once they are on end of day at evening time, when they are trying to run end of day, to update some data or the payments. So what could be the issue, or what can you do to improve such scenario? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Akim. So there are many things that might cause those fluctuations or those issues that arise or the bug. So the bug can be that, is it that everything shut down, is not redirecting? Is it that it's very slow, the performance? Is it that it depends, so many things, like it cannot log in? Is it that some people can log in also? It depends on the type of issues that you have at that time, because if we say that there are some bugs or the interface is not working, I mean that you mean the front end, right? So it can be anything. It might be a front end issue. It might also be like a back end thing. So, and I don't work there, so I would not be able to really answer. So, but there are so many reasons. We also see the challenges from this thing that might cause like a system not working well or an application not working well, and that's also the reason why we are here. So I think I don't know if that answers. So there is a lot of things that might be happening that even the highest can meet.
Okay, thank you very much.
I don't know if Udeme is here, want to answer that question. I don't know. But...
Sorry, Ma, I want to actually maybe add to what he said, or probably a question. So from what he said here, I can understand he said, please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please, who is talking at the moment?
Deborah, my name is Deborah Shoyombo.
Okay.
All right. So from what he said, if I can understand well, he said when there are much people using that app, as at that time, it's kind of misbehaves here. I don't know if I get that part well. So my own question would be, could it be trafficking that causes it?
So So because I know that end of day does not so when you're running it doesn't have to be like very plenty people. It might even be like few people that are running their end of people. I mean from each department, you understand? Depends on whatever you are working on, because I work in the back too. But what I'm saying is that so if it's like it's slow, it might be a performance issue, like maybe it needs like optimization or something. But if it's like other things, I don't know what, maybe it crashes, why you want to use it, or there are so many things that might happen. But if it's like it's slow, or it might be just the performance issue, it might not be like it might not be that there's a bug or there's a bug. It might be like a performance issue. The performance is not optimized.
Okay. So my own question, all right, thank you for the clarification. So my own question will now be, because for this Postman to test it, can we use custom connector too?
Custom
Connector.
okay, so instead of using Postman, right?
Yes.
So that's why I said I'm not sure I've heard of custom connector.
Okay.
So, but there are other tools that you can use aside Postman. Just like Postman is just widely known and it is friendly, like really friendly to use. So that's why we are using it in the class. You try if you are like got Swagger. So Swagger, there are so many things you cannot do on Swagger. Postman. So
All right. Thank you.
Swagger is just for me, I think people use Swagger more for documentation. So, but as a QA testing, Postman is what I really recommend. If you want to do a detailed testing, not just click send. So let me know who has downloaded the Postman so that we don't spend our time. And
I'm done.
so who has? So let me know. I'm not seeing people who are raising their hands, so I will not be able to. Just let me know how many people.
Okay.
Please, before you proceed. Hello.
Hi.
Sorry, this is okay. Well, I'm saying before you proceed, he asked. I am on the page, so he asked for either to download with a window installation Mac. There's a Mac and then open brackets Apple Silicon. Then also the Mac Intel installation. So that is what I'm trying to see. Which one should I download? I can just pick any one of the three.
So who is, you are using Mac, right? So who is using
I haven't choose anyone at all because they asked me to call people. But before I proceed, that is why I asked to know which one is more preferable.
I think you should use what did you call the first one?
Window installation. Then the second one, that's Mac, open and close bracket, Apple Silicon installation. Then the third one, Mac Intel.
Pick the one that is your system, man.
So because now one thing about all this Mac and because you need to be able to know the one that will work. So you can try. Have you installed anything before?
Not at all.
When you are installing any application, what do you usually use? So because if I ask you to take the Apple Silicon, I don't know if it will work. You can just give it a try. Let's give it a try.
Sorry, let me just chip in. I think it's dependent on
First of all, what laptop are you using?
Exactly.
What system are you using?
First of all,
you are going to follow according to your laptop. Yes, if you're using a HP, you download the
If you use a
Windows.
window, you take the window now. You use the window.
Yes. If you're
now.
using my Apple or Mac, you download the Mac. That's why they're giving you options there. Because the Windows might not work for the Mac Apple system.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay. So we have downloaded it. So this is don't mind the white background. I would also teach you on our next class is basically going to be practical. So you can also play around, but you also see where you can change your theme to like dark. But for this example now, we have the white background, so it's not different from whatever you have. And I think the default is even white, so you are the one that will change it to dark theme. So the default theme for on Postman is usually white. So now let's pay attention to this. So we have we talked about get. So we have get here. You can see get, and this is where we get the method, our HTTP method. This is where you will see it. If you already opened your laptop, you'll see, just go there, you see, just click on this, you'll see all the other, even the ones that we did not mention, they are there. I think they're like 5 or 6 there. And then you see this one now, your API URL that we talk about, where all your API can be accessed. So you can see it here too. You can see your body. This body, we can also say is payload. So it can be your body, you can say body, you can say payload. So if I'm saying payload or I'm saying body, they mean the same thing. It means that what does your request entails, right? So then you have your header. This is where I said that you have your content type, your authorization key. If this request is a test that can help you assess your request, because not all, we have talked about authorization and authentication. So it's not all requests that you can just go and enter, or you cannot just all application you can just enter like that. There are some that need authorization. So you see different kind of authorization key, bearer token, OAU, ATA. You see so many of them here. Then you have your environment. Which environments do you want to see? You can configure. If you configure your environment, you see it here. You can always do it under, then save all your requests under the same environment. Then this is when the collection of all each file, collection of all the files that you have or that you have saved or that you're working on. You can decide to put in a collection in a bigger file, in the folder. Let me put it in a folder in a better way. So this is where it will be. So meaning that if I'm working on, let's say, Blue Maraji application, I can decide to put all my login, transfer, logistics, all the endpoints under this Blue Maraji folder. So they are called the collection. I hope that is clear. Then when you have done everything looks good, you have done this is where you send the request. This is the request button here. There's also something perhaps you're going to get to all this in the practical. Then you have your save request. You have to save your request. Also, I need to also state this. This interface here that I screenshotted is like an old graphic to Postman. You see that the new one is different, but of course, everything that is here is also in the new one. It's just like the way they have arranged, things getting better, of course. And so I've not been able to, so I want to go back to, so I said collections. So collections are, you can organize your test suites by placing your collection. Each collection may have some folders and multiple requests, like I have said. A request or folder can also be duplicated as well. So your request tab done by default. Untitled request will be displayed for requests without titles, meaning that if you have not titled anyone, like save anyone, it will also let you know that, oh, this is not saved. It will also be displayed just like that. So you have your HTTP request, which we have talked about this. I know by now you understand what this one means. Then your request URL, we have all talked about this. You know what this is. Save, I've told you, like, when you are done, you'll be able to, like, save, make changes to your request, like just clicking your save and so that you don't lost your file or your request. Then params, so that's graphic that I showed you. But this is where you write parameters. Parameters just means key value or specific request. You know that time I talked about our pizza with cheese, right? Or pizza without cheese, or the shawarma without chicken. Those are specific requests. They are key values. They are telling you that, oh, I want pizza, but I don't want it in this form, or I want it in this form. Or we can say we have like a computer store, But inside that computer store now, you have different items there, gadgets there. So you need to now be able to specify that inside this computer store, I just give me a keyboard, or just give me a monitor. I don't know if that makes sense to you. So all these are still part of it. So okay. So we also, like, well, I think this also should come first. I've displaced this thing. So of course, this is how I'll show you how you create a new request or collection of environments. You know, I talked about environment the other time and collection of that. So how you create a new one, like this is a new page. You are starting off. How do I create a request? You have to also import those collections. Then the one for automation, you can also, like, have your own workspace. When you have your own workspace, mean that people outside around there cannot see what you have. You can also create even as a team, meaning that everybody in your team, you can see if I'm making changes to any request or any this thing. Everybody in that team would see what I am doing, right? Everybody in that team will see what I'm doing. If I'm not there, everybody would if they are not there, if it's only me, nobody can see. So that way you can also invite people to collaborate with you from that. Then your history, your past this thing, you also see it there. Your past request, you also see it here. I've talked about body, I've talked about headers, I've talked about authorization. Like, say, in order to access some APIs, you need proper authorization, and maybe in form of bearer token. I've told all this. So header, I've also said it. The body, I've told you body is also like a payload. If I say body or payload, is still the same, where you can also customize your details there, meaning that you are providing the information. The system does not have it. You are the one giving it. So it might also not be body or payload, might also not be just for a post request here. Because it's not actually for a post request, like it's written here. You can also have a body for puts, for patch, because remember that we are updating a data in the case of puts and patch. So we need to also give the system to say, this is data, this is what I'm updating it to or something. So it's not just for body for post request alone. So request create is for the automation part, the API automation part, which allows you to write the scripts that will be executed before the request. You need to write all your scripts before you now execute them and run them in the correct environment. So this is also talking about your API automation. So where you write your test, there is also there you see the test, you see it on that your postmark for those people that were able to download it. So now let's go to HTTPS definition. So because I also I know that all of us have been here, and when we get things like this outside, even before we decide to be like a QA or a tech sister and a tech bro, all these things look like, what are they saying? What's this so big? This is so hard. This is so now I want to have a context because this you'll be working with it and you need to ask yourself some questions. Like I told you, I said that API testing also help you to manage the risk with that your request, with that with your endpoint. It makes you to like be able to close out vulnerabilities. So, and if you don't understand this, you will not also know that this HTTP or HTTPS, as the case may be, is a very important role in your endpoint or in your API. So what does HTTPS mean, like in full representation? It means, sorry, apologies. Don't worry, I'll soon buy house as well, so that you won't be hearing noise underneath. So meaning, full meaning of HTTPS is Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. And this is basically the primary way to securely send your data from a web browser to a website. So for oh, sorry. So from your web browser now that you send let's say www to www something like the way we are looking for that postman the other time. So there's something, this HTTPS is the one that allows you send your request, send those data securely to the website, meaning that along the way, when it's traveling from this your web browser, you have typed it and it's traveling from this your web browser to the website, it is secured. Now, the real thing is that HTTPS is the normal thing is HTTP. The S is just the secure. So whenever you see any, it is like you are sending to an unsecure website because from the point it travels from you are sending that request from your web browser to your website, anything can happen and nobody told to you because it is unsecure until you have this. So HTTPS encrypts the data entered into a user's device to safely deliver it to the website that they are interacting with. It also encrypts data going from, it also encrypts data going from the website to the browser, like vice versa. HTTPS is a common protocol and serves as the communication standard for traffic between browsers and web servers. So let's look at it. How does HTTPS work? HTTPS has been designed to protect communication sent over the internet. This is accomplished by adding security layers, the secure sockets layer SSL, and I don't know if anybody has heard about that before, and the transport layer security to the original hypertext transfer protocol. Now, I said it the other time that there's nothing special about the HTTPS. It's just the secure. The normal one, the traditional one is the HTTP. But what makes this very unique and not special, that will not carry very well and say, oh, this thing, I would use it, is because the SSL, which is the secure sockets layer, and the TLS, that's the transport layer security, has been added to it, which helps to encrypt whatever information is being transferred from that web browser to the website or from that website to the browser. I don't know if I'm making any sense here.
Yes, you are.
So now, when all these things are happening, meaning that when you have your secure socket layer, the SSL and transport layer, when we had it, these two ingredients, when we had it to your hypertext transfer protocol, which the normal HTTP, you need to also be able to use the public key to generate a public key with the SSL and the TLS, and that's what exactly makes your request that you are sending over the internet everywhere. You're just typing, you're just putting out your information. That's what makes it secure. Now, the reason why I'm saying this, I am teaching this, is that because we said as APIs, if you have known anybody that's into pen testing or security testing, you know that they use API alone. And the reason they do this is because, one of the reasons they do this is because most of it's easier to penetrate your endpoint, your APIs. It's easier to penetrate it. And the moment anybody or anybody penetrates your API, then there's nothing. Leave all those fine things from the front end. Leave all those I'm not saying that people cannot log, but just still leave those 5 things. If anybody can hijack your endpoints, that's all. So you need to be careful about what you're sending, meaning that if you are in a company or you are working somewhere or you have a project you are working on and you see that whatever you are sending the data on your web browser is not secured, the first point is even to like, before you even start to say I'm testing APIs, you first need to be sure that this thing is secured. You need to know. And that's when you don't see, anytime you don't see the S, like I said, this S is secure that makes it special. There's nothing special about the hypertext transfer protocol. So that's why I'm bringing it to you. So it's one of the things I feel like you should hold there to you. Then we have encryption. So what encrypts this information? What encrypts your information from when you are sending it from your web browser to your website? So means that encryption happens, and that is where this public key that I talked about, the infrastructure PKI, happen. The PKI, that's where it happens. So that one is what encrypts your data, so that people will not know what exactly is inside that data. So encryption generally is critical to the security of HTTPS because it implements SSL, that is secure socket layer, and the transport socket layer. And setting, okay, yes, the TLS, setting up a shared private key through the PKI, public key cryptography, and the SSL or TLS. They do an handshake, ensures that even if someone can access the data you entered into a website, they will not be able to read it. Encryption turns your fully coherent, sensitive data into a complete jumble of letters, symbols, and numbers that means nothing to someone trying to read it. So that is also another part I want to take note of. So if somebody is sending like a data, maybe I'm sending like a username and a password, it should be encrypted. Like it should be like, and it should be encrypted. Nobody should come in and know whatever it is. Even from your own side, even as a key, you should not be able to know what the person is typing from your own side. It should, every information, like vulnerable information, should be kept encrypted. Then authentication, I talked about authentication the other time. Authorization, of course, not everything, even if people have access to something, but not everybody can use, not everybody and if I can, let's say I can log into maybe an application, it doesn't mean that it's everything on that application that I can use. It doesn't mean that it's everything that I can do on that place. So and it also means that before I can even do something, I need some authentication to be able to proceed with any request. So all these things are important: encryption, authorization, authentication, your HTTPS. All these things are very important when you are testing your APIs. So I basically have talked about is everybody still with me? So
Yes, you are. Yes, I am.
Yes, we are with
Yeah.
you.
So I've talked about this HTTP and HTTPS, and I've said that the difference is because one is secured and one is not. So at their core, both HTTP and HTTPS serve the same purpose. So it's still the same, but to transfer data over the internet, servers store web pages and let me move this. I don't know what's there over the computer. When a user accesses them, this communication between servers and clients creates a network known as the World Wide Web. Like the other one we're checking, www.postman and all that. So HTTP fetches requested information from web servers, but the downside is that it has no layer of security. It doesn't have the SSL or the TLS or the PKI. So it is simply a delivery system, and it leaves all information vulnerable and open for anyone to access. So the main difference between is that HTTP has the additional, I said, and so, and this is like a graphic representation of what I mean. So we can see that this is our web server here, and this is our HTTP request here, and you can see that as this HTTP request is going, every center across the is going. It's also coming like that. Everybody can see it here. But you can see from HTTPS here now that one is even secure. Not just anybody can go through it. Yeah, but even if you now have access to it, everything you are saying, it will be just gibberish to you because it doesn't make any sense. Because if you are looking at this one here now, you cannot say that it's the same thing as the one hub. You can never in your thoughts think that this will be the same information. So can we go on, Abi? So now talk about your HTTP method. We'll talk about what your HTTP stands for: encryption, authorization, authentication, and all. So now in the API testing, you do not have it doesn't tell you, just like in your front end now when you test, it tells you maybe you want to log in now and you put a wrong username and a wrong password. It will tell you login not it will tell you login not user is unable to log. It tell user or password is incorrect or not that. So you can understand that language because it's something you speak, right? It's normal English. But in API, it doesn't tell you maybe login this one. No. Even though you would see from your response, if you can read your response, but there are some HTTP response that you have that you see. It comes in like numbers. You see something like 200, 201, 204, 400, 401, and all that. Like I have said it, I've listed here. So I said on sending request, API sends the response, which consists of the body, cookies, headers, test, status code, and API response time. Meaning that if you send a request and it is coming back with the request, like your waiter is bringing your phone like that, it comes with the body response. It will come with your cookies, it will come with your header, it will come with your status code. So this status code most times is what you use to know, oh, is this thing okay? Is it not okay? Is there something wrong? So you need to be able to interpret your status code. All these things that I wrote here, 200, 201 are called status code. And your API response time also tells you your response time. So if it takes your waiter to take your order to bring your order back, you have given her your order, you want this, you want that, you want, and it takes her 15 minutes to return back with the pizza and cheese, API will tell you that, oh, this request took you 15 minutes, you understand? If it also takes you 1 minute, it will also tell you this. I hope that is clear. So there are many status codes. Like I said, these are not, what I wrote here, just a handful of, it's just a small part like of the rest status code you'd have. You have a lot of them, but these are also the common ones that I try to fetch from you. So which are 200. So when you say 200 requests, you know that it's successful. Most times you get 200 when you have a get request. Anytime you send in, anytime you send in a guest request. So then you have 201. Most of the time when you get 201, it means that it's a post request. Most of the time, a post request or a post request or something, you can get 201. Sometimes you get a 204, meaning that. So now I also need to say that. I also need to say that sometimes when you get 200 successful, 201 successful, it doesn't mean that it's actually, yes, it's my successful. It means that, oh, this request, I'm able to get or fetch this request to bring to your table. But you need to check for the body response body rather, of that request to say, okay, is it because it might actually be successful, like say, okay, it's getting to the server or something, but it might be bringing in something that is wrong. It might be bringing in something that is, like the response body might be really, really wrong. It might not be correct information. So you need to, it doesn't stop to say, it does not help to say that it's successful, but it's not, if the request is not giving the right information, then it's not right. So it needs to also be vigilant and be vigilant about that. Don't just say because Shala said that any 200 is successful, anything, no. So you need to check out for the response body. Either you have a 200, 201. Then you have a 204 response status code. It means that there's not a returning an empty response, meaning that you can't find. Of course, you should be also be able to question it, because if you are having, like, say, a login or this thing, and it's supposed to give you okay, oh, this thing is not going, it's because it's a wrong response, or it's because it's a right response, or it's because the server is not saying anything. You need to be able to ask, why am I getting an, why can't he give me like a god? So you tell the person to do a proper error handling for messages. Then you can have a 400 bad request. So what, because the APIs, especially on Postman, understand JSON. So it might be, if you have a bad request, might be that you are not clear in your request. It's like you are telling them to say, okay, bring pizza and cheese, but still not bring cheese. Now bring pizza, or that means you want to scatter the head of this thing. So you tell you that I don't understand. This is a bad request. So whenever he gives you that for it, like he's telling you that, see, bro, I don't understand what we are talking about, or something is missing. So in the case to say that we have a computer store and you want in that store you want to fetch, or you are requesting to get all keyboards that you need to be specific. If you're not specific in your parameters, in your params, it will be lost, because like, where should I get this? Where should I get this keyboard? Like you're saying computer store, then it's asking, where should I get? And you're not saying keyboard, like, where should I get this keyboard from? No, it needs to know. So we need to put each as in the required parameters. Then when you have 401, I have said it that authorization, authentication, all these things are very important in API testing. So if you have a 401 status code, it is telling you that there's this URL, this API URL, it's correct, but you cannot access it. You don't have the right keys to access this. Just like you can enter a gate or a house, but you cannot enter a particular door. I don't know if that makes sense. So, or maybe your token or is expired. It can be for different reasons. So you need to be able to get the right token. It might also be that you are using, maybe you are supposed to use a BR token, you are using a OAUTH, or you are using something else. So it will tell you, no, I don't understand, or you don't have access to this. The 403 for forwarding or access denied might be something that you have tried over 3 times, or it might not just be like they just don't want to give you the access. So you go back to that. So the 404 no data found is telling you that I've helped you to search here, but me, I cannot find what you're talking about. The 445 for method not allowed, meaning that you're using the wrong method, or the method. Let's say you have like a post request now. Let's say that you have like a post request now, and a post request is supposed to have like a body, right? But you are using a get. Well, you already provided a body to hit, but you are using a get. So the postman or the API would like, understand though, this method that you're giving me is not allowed. It's not what you're supposed to use. In fact, it's even, for me, I feel like it is nice. It is very kind. The API is very kind to tell you to say you are not using the right one, because you can even, should I even give you like a 404, so 400 or so. So then you have anything around 500, 5035, they are usually server related. So if you have a 500 status code you have for internal server, meaning that there's an internal server error, then if you have a 503 service unavailable and all that, anything 500 is actually speaking to server issues. So I hope that is clear.
Yes,
And it's still
yes,
coming in
yes,
clearly.
it's clear. But I have a question.
Okay.
We have come the scenario of seeing error 101,
Error
something
101.
below 200. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure. So yes, I don't know what error 101 would be for. But I know that it should be there should be like it's a status code. It should be a status code too, but I'm not sure. I've even looked into that.
Okay, I'm sorry, Olushola. Can I chip in something to what my colleague just said?
Okay. Yes, please.
Okay,
Yes, please. I said yes, please.
so can you still hear me?
No,
So,
we can't hear you.
can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so sorry, Mr. Kim. So, I've actually worked with backend with C Sharp, and the truth is, we can never know all the status code. It's not possible. So even when we see, we even check online to know what is this one saying. So I think exactly. So we
Yeah,
can
it's
never
fine.
know all. It's more than 1,000.
Yeah,
So
so
you
that's
just check.
why I said it's possible that there's because it's something that has not happened to you before. You say,
Yeah,
never. But until when you now get that, you now look like, let me go and ask the gospel and or something. So, but at least for now, this is what I have known. So, so if you have any area, there are a lot of them. Like I said, there are a lot of them. In fact, from this there's still a lot from these ones that are still even popular that you don't even include here. So thank you for bailing me out on that.
Wisdom is about saying
Then,
something, please.
okay, please go ahead.
Hi, good evening.
Good
Can you hear
evening.
me?
Good evening.
Okay, so I have a
Please,
question.
I'm not seeing the chat, so I don't know your name. I just answer that dumbly. Sorry.
Okay, that's
Sorry
fine.
about that.
It's fine. I have a question.
Okay.
So, what of the case whereby you are getting a status code of 200, but the message is internal server error? What do you do?
So I'm not sure how the message that is returning is giving you 500. Then you go back to your developer. I don't know what he has done. So that's why
It's
I emphasize that. So it might be that the server, like the service, but for the fact that if it's returning 200, then where did he go and fetch the 200? That's the question. Do you get? Because for it to give you 200, it means that it
yes.
is eating the server.
Okay. So it's probably from the developer.
So I don't know how that will happen. You can 200 and you're having the message. So you
So
still need to talk and maybe
I've
debug
seen
further.
several error at 200, 400, and then 500. I know 500 is internal server error, but seeing it on other status code was what was confusing.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So if he says that okay, you have status code of maybe 504, 503 ahead, you know that okay. But you have 200, you still not have the response body. Now don't pass my hand.
That's fine.
So,
Thank you very much.
but we can never say never, right? Because
Okay.
we can never say for me, I don't say never because until it happens, there's nothing you will not see in developers and so, so until then we'll not debug, we know where the wala is coming from. So
All right. That's fine.
that's just my own take on that. So I can't say
All right.
never.
Thank you very much.
So okay, let's move on to so we said okay. So I don't know why this are so we have okay, sorry. So we're looking into like just a touch on our type of API testing. I know we have done so many types of testing and all that, but this one is specifically, I'm just talking about API testing. So how do we use them? So API testing is a crucial part of the software testing lifecycle that ensures the API function as expected. It meets performance benchmarks and maintains security standards. Below are the key types of API testing. Now, you said that before you put my quote me, I said key types, meaning that we can have like more than what I have. Like, honestly, don't expect me to say like, oh, but like the key things that I know that it is very important that you just do their functional tests, right? Basically, before some companies even do it, like before they start implementing with their front end, with their APIs, you have to first test it. That's the first point of contact. So you have to first test it before the front end takes it or back end and they start implementing those things. So, and basically all this is talking to like functional. You want to make sure that each endpoint works functionally. They are functioning the way they are supposed to function. They are like logging from the API side, you are logging in, you are logging out. If it's logging in, if your response body is supposed to bring in some token, everything is working that way. So the first thing I'll talk is functional testing. And as much as we can do the functional testing on your UI, GUI, like we said, it is also important or very good to do it. So to verify that the API works according to the functional requirements. Now, also, there's a point that I did not think that I noted. Just like every other testing that you are doing or that you have done, meaning that you need your documentations and all that. Every API testing also need documentation. You need to know your requirements. What am I testing? What am I looking for? What aim or what goal are we achieving with this? I don't know if it makes sense. So now you are able to test from this doing your functional test with this. Okay, these are the functional requirements. These are the things that I want from the documentation. These are the things that I want. So now your focus here will be like correctness of the response, your status code, your data headers, your authorization too, because sometimes when you're checking your functional, you need to be sure that your auth or your token or auth is being generated as promptly as it should, and you're also getting your code, you are getting your everything is working as it's supposed to be. The behavior of the endpoint. Sometimes the behavior of your endpoint also reflects in your GUI. You understand? Meaning that even if on your API it's taking like 15 minutes to return with a request or 10 minutes, I don't think any should take 15 minutes, but let's just say 5 minutes. It's probably you know from that your API testing that this request is still the same way, except that it's been optimized that it will have. Also, just like you test on your normal front-end testing, on your normal testing, when you are doing your API testing, you are looking at the functional part. You also be able to check from your testing or your functional test the invalid and valid inputs. You understand? Like, say you are testing from your endpoint, all this will do it in our practical. You're testing your endpoints. You want to do like a transfer. You can transfer with, let's say, 500. You can transfer with 0 naira. You can transfer, just trying to change figure the value to see how they behave from even the endpoint. So this is very important. So, okay, examples, yes, testing a login API to ensure it returns the correct user data upon validation. I know you by now, you know all this. Checking if an endpoint has a new record to the database correctly. Also, like it needs to return the right information. So if you have data in your database, some data, and you are trying to fetch that data, let's say for a GET request, and I'm trying to get my data, say, okay, get all the list of users on this application, and it's making my one of, I'm seeing that one of the names that is bringing, I'm there because I am one of the users on that application, and I'm seeing that my email address has changed. It's not what I inputted, or and I've not changed it. Then there's a problem. There's an error. You understand? So then we also use this for security. I think I've even said it the other time that in fact, the reason why you are using API is like you are like a bottleneck to ensure that all these minor bugs or even big bugs, whatever name you can call it, does not slip from your hand to get to the front end. That's what you're trying to do, right? So you need to protect, and while you are doing that, you also need to check out for vulnerabilities. Like I said, your API is more vulnerable. Is more vulnerable than even your. In fact, if somebody, like I said, if somebody has access to your endpoint, the person does not even need your UI. It does not need your UI to do anything again. That's what Yoruba will say, support law. You understand? So So you need to like protect it with your power and your mind and your testing ability. So your vulnerabilities, then unauthorized access. So now in the point that you get, let's say, Pera token, AUTH, anything that you are using to authenticate all these things, you should also try to like manipulate those tokens to see that if somebody manipulates this or just take something random, will it pass? Will it give me access? You know, that kind of thing. I don't know if you understand what I am saying. So this your focus should be on data encryption. That's why I like hammered on that. Data encryption, your data decryption, your authentication mechanism. You can have it OAUT, GWT, Bearer token. There are a lot of them. We'll see all of that when we get to our postmark. So you must be able to focus on that and sure that they are not vulnerable. Then your role-based access control, your prevention of threats like SQL. I know that these ones are really like going to the II. These ones are like for
Like cybersecurity.
for pen testers, security testers, yes. So, but of course, there's something that I usually advise that even if you're not a security tester, like all these 10 OAPs, well, this thing you should know it's not hard. Just go 10 OAPs. Even if it's that one you can do for yourself, at least you can sleep at night and say, oh, I've tried my best. But this last one, basically, in fact, security testing, there are people who like it's another field on its own in testing. Like that's why I always say that. You see, being a quality assurance, is diversified. You can be many things here. So and you can decide to be just one thing. So people are actually just security testers. That's all they do all their life. They are pen testers. All they do. So there's nothing that stop you to like just know that one and just moving. So what the examples of what they do here is verifying that sensitive data, e.g. password that is encrypted, you're testing access restriction for users without valid tokens. Now I talked about manipulating the tokens, the original tokens that you get. The performance testing. So when I was talking the other time, you have says that you can use API tests, can do API as performance testing, right? So you can use it to because I said that while it's returning your status code, is returning your response body to also return the time, speed at which it has gone to fetch those requests or it has returned the request with response for you. So what this one will do is to evaluate the speed, the stability, and the scalability of the API under various conditions. Also, this performance testing I'm talking about too is another field on its own, also in testing. You have people that are performance testers. That's what they do. That's what's like their core major there. So this ones, that's when they will be doing stress, they will be doing sanity, they will be doing so many things on it just to see the stability, scalability, and speed of that application. So what will be your focus on this particular one? Your response time for different loads. So if you are loading for 5,000, 10,000, you are loading for, or maybe you are loading the system or users, by this service like that. Then the throughput, number of requests processed by second, like I said, then stress set under high traffic. That's when you're trying to load many things or many users on that. So examples mentioning the API response time is 1,000 concurrent users, and let's find the breaking points of where Akim was asking me that question. Maybe when the request gets to like maybe 10 people, things like this time so any questions so far? You people are sleeping. Are you tired or
No,
am
we
I
are
the only
with
one?
you. We
We're
are
not
with you.
sleeping
We
now.
are with you.
Okay.
We are
We
So
are
here.
with you 100%.
okay. So And I try to do this like because we still have a lot of things to check on when you're testing your APIs. So I just did like a summary table
I think
here
somebody wants to
where you
ask
have
something.
your okay. Somebody wants to ask a question. I know that I'm not hearing anything again.
Opeyemi, you're raising your hand. Opeyemi.
Is that the floor?
Yeah.
Because I can't see actually. Just raise up. Just let somebody.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I wanted to ask so does it mean API testing is done before development?
So during development, is done during development because don't forget it is also during development they are creating these endpoints, these APIs too. So of course, also if you do your STLC well, you see that even testing is still under development, like everything is still happening during development. So but I don't understand where you are coming from. So do you mean that it is when they are done with they do it before?
I mean after like building the UI and everything, like is it before?
No, so I said it that yes. So if you want to test your API, that would be before the UI implementations.
Okay, so I don't wanted to ask, not development. I wanted to ask. Thank you.
Yeah, so because STL is even testing is still under the development this thing. So okay, so
it is carried out as like
Okay.
a unit
Sorry, this is
test.
Akim.
Can you hear me?
So okay, yes, it's carried out. So and yes, so it could also be that even after UI has been done, so it might be maybe they just have to that there's an additional API endpoint or there's something we call API versioning. So maybe they want to like update your APIs. So you can also ask it to test it. So, but majorly, if you want, like, if they actually wanted you to test an API, it should be before they start implementing it on the front end side.
All right, thank you.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
I'm with you.
Yeah, this is Akim. Securing the endpoint part. What is the best software to secure that part? Because that part is the main point where where people must not access. What is the main stuff to secure? I mean, the main one that people use to secure. Securing that endpoint.
So that's why I've given examples or things that you must look out for. In fact, I basically went to like give you things like the HTTPS, HTTP, those SSL, those things that you as your own, you're just a QA that you'd look out for to say, okay, I'm trying to like secure it. I also told you things like your authentication, your authorization. I also made mention of your response body. I made mention that sometimes it doesn't have to see something might be getting to the server and still be returning nonsense. Do you get it? It can be returning. So all these things are just things that you'd look out for and you'd watch out for. Then also error and then your error handling messages. So if it is like a user, your user or username or password is incorrect, you should not be giving me error code. Let me know that your username, or you understand, you should not be giving me like there are 500 that my sister made mention the other time. You understand? So all those things are things all these things I'm already saying you are testing. They are tests. You are already making your test. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Thank you.
So now, if you want to go further, like say you really want to know all these things, those are key key security testers stuff. And that's why I also made many of those 10 OAPs. You can just Google that. Then they have they do something like we call penetration testing. So all those things, they have tools they use in doing all those security things again to see if your website or this thing is vulnerable and all that. So that's, you are taking a step further. But I'm just saying that, okay, for the basics, these are things you should watch out for. There are lots that would happen under security. So moving on, I don't know if that answered your question, Akim.
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
So now I said I made like a table here to say type. You can see I just provide like 3, but I went ahead to like do so many. Like one of my sister asked that, oh, API, is it just during implementation that they do, that you can do it and all that. You see that there are times that there's something we call API versioning. You see that you can also still do like irrigation when there's a new change or there's a new updates made. You can still come back and do those tests. So this penetration test, I think I was speaking about this to Akim now, penetration. So there are tools they use for this simulated attacks. You just try to throw an attack to the server and see how it responds and all that. Usability, easy use of and documentation. You need to have like a API clarity to say, okay, this is on this is on this. Everything is clearly spelled out. Then error handling, sending invalid data and checking error codes. Are they sending the right information? Like I said, if it is a username or this thing is not correct, why are you telling me error code? Why are you telling me a user cannot be found? Or do you need to be like specific with your error handling? Integration between APIs and systems. If I put this API with another maybe testing payments or inventory system, will it still work? All those things. Validation, business requirement, data accuracy in API. This thing. We're talking about performance and all these ones. So that's why I didn't touch it again. So this is just like an overall summary of what I have talked about. And these are the examples that we have here. So let's move on. So I don't know, maybe we can leave this for, or let me just touch this, but so that because the next class is big. So overview of popular API tools. I said we have a lot of them, a lot, but the ones that are familiar with, here are some popular. We have Postman. You can use this for manual and automation build. This is what would actually be used, and that's why I ask everybody, if you have not downloaded this, please do so before the next class so that will not leave you behind. So then, okay, so this is best for, you can see this is user-friendly interface for building and testing API requests. It supports REST, SOAP, and GraphQL APIs. It's also good for automated testing using test scripts written Java, Swift.js, built-in collaboration features for sharing collections and environments. So this is best for testing, functional testing, collaboration, and this is the website where I asked to go on www.postman.com. So SOAP UI, a comprehensive tool. This is another comprehensive tool for API testing. It's an open source, and they also have the pro version. If pro version means like the paid version. So you have your key features. This supports REST and SOAP APIs. You can drag and drop test case creation here. So advanced features like security testing and test automation, meaning that if you are going into security testing, you can look into it. So this also integrates with CI/CD tools with Jenkins. So this best for testing SOAP APIs and advanced functional or security testing. So we have Swagger. One of my brother here asked that why can't we use Swagger? Yes, you can use Swagger, but Swagger is also an open API tool. Like it's not like it's an open source. You can also use it but even though some companies would like restrict it to their own distance. So if it's not if they're not seen online as open source, then that means it's not something you're supposed to expose. Remember that APIs are not something you can just expose. You're working somewhere, you cannot just expose their APIs or their endpoints and say, oh, because no, you can't do that. So this Swagger is basically used for API documentation. I think I replied the other time, and testing framework. So it's not like you cannot make tests on Swagger, but it's not like in-depth. You can't do your test in-depthly like Postman. So it's basically used for API documentation. Then you can just test shallowly there. And yeah, so developers use this a lot. So this is their best friend. Interactive API documentation with Swagger UI. We have the Swagger editor for creating and testing open API specifications. It also allows testing directly from the documentation interface, because the documentation is there, and you can also just be documenting from that from the same documentation there. Like this one is not like when you are coming on that same page there, you can also be documenting that. We have the HTTPS swagger.io. So if you want to look at it, I think I even have one coming. I think I opened one. So this is what the Swagger looks like, and you can see these are documentation. This is the way their own documentation comes in, and this is for requesting. It's not this is for request, because this request in is an open source document. So that's why I'm able to be like, you can see request API, take data code
Please, you
API.
can't see anything.
Oh, sorry, but I'm still sharing. Okay. Oh, I think let me go back to my. Let me know if you can see my screen now. Can you see now?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can
Yeah.
see.
Okay. So I was trying to say this is what a Swagger looks like. This is a Postman. This is because you already have Postman, that's why I didn't bother. So what is it like a Swagger? And I was saying that this is like it's an open source documentation of Swagger. It's for requests in, and this is documentation. So meaning that I can test from here. What's that thing that was saying that as there's documents here, I can just test directly here. It's not like I don't need to go to another place to be testing. Just here, you test whatever you need to test, and you keep it moving. Hope that is clear. So it's say we have RPG. This one is like an API
So we are
management
still seeing your
platform with
swagger.
testing
We are still
capabilities.
seeing your swagger.
Your
Maybe I need
Swagger
to
is
now
still
pay.
on.
Let me reshare the. Let me know if you can see now. Can you see now?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we have the RPG tool. So this one is a API management platform with testing capabilities by Google actually. So the key features there is allows API design, testing, and analytics in one platform. Like you can manage, see how many requests, see how many things you can like manage, even the other things that you are doing on it. This one is like a management tool. Let me put it, the API management platform tool. Then this supports API security and quota management. It also helps in integrating debugging and error detection tools. So this one is best for enterprises managing APIs at scale. Meaning that if you have like a company or a consultancy that managing APIs like in like big scale, like maybe for companies, larger companies, like different companies, like 10 companies, 50 companies, then this is like a go-to tool for you. I think that's that for today. So any questions so far? Any addition, any subtraction before we call it a day? Nobody is talking. So it means that everybody is good for today's class.
Yeah, still, still digesting better.
I can't hear that person. I know somebody is talking
He
about.
said yes, we are good. That's what he said.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for
Some
joining
of
me.
us are trying to digest what you have said so far. So we
Okay, I
cannot
think.
really give you a yes or a no. We are in between.
Don't
That's
worry,
for
you'll be
me,
fine.
Sha. I don't know
There's
about
still.
any other person, so that I can speak for myself.
Okay, it's fine. It's okay because, of course, I also understand the place you are coming from. This, like, I don't know, some of you, I know that this is like the first time that you are hearing this. And that's also the reason why I tried not to rush and I tried to like simplify into like a real life situation or real life scenario that we have. So that when you like grab that kind of scenario, you'll be able to like just use it, apply it into API. So, and it's normal for you to feel like it feels wide, red or something, but you'll be fine. And you just, I know this class is recorded. Just go back there and replay it. It will make more sense to you that way. So, but you cannot tell me that from the beginning of this class, now almost last class, you do not even understand. You do not take anything. There will be like a take home or something that you would say, okay, today I learned this one. As bad as it be. So thank you everyone for joining in the class. So would join in same time on Thursday.
Yes, Madam Shola, you everything down. So you still like to have your slide, so not to still go through it.
It's fine. It's okay. It would give. I'll give it that. I'll drop that. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Please do have a wonderful night rest.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Shola. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Deme. Good night.